making people happy is the core of it. It's like people don't go to work just to get paid. They want to work at a place of their dreams that drives, that is doing something in the market, that is driving a mission, that is going to be memorable in history, or is creating a difference in the marketplace. And so ensuring that these important companies have an infrastructure that's strong, that they can grow and foster these happy individuals to focus on doing their best work, is something that really motivates me.
Welcome to the New World Podcast, where we delve into the ever changing and accelerating pace of global change and its impact on our lives. I'm your host, Paul Flores, broadcasting live from the New World Studio. Today, we're diving into the world of AI and automation. As an enthusiast and expert in lead generation, I will guide you through understanding and leveraging these technologies for your business and for your personal use. And don't forget, AI and automation might be unstoppable forces, but that doesn't mean you are powerless. Tune in to learn how to make them work for you and not the other way around. But first, let's meet our guest. Welcome to the New World Podcast, where we navigate the changing world around us. I'm your host, Paul Flores, specializing in lead generation and AI automation, here to help you understand how our world is changing and what it means for you. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, a genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. That's why today we have a pleasure of speaking with Sam Reeve, a seasoned expert in compensation and talent management. Sam is the CEO and founder of ComTeam, a consulting company dedicated to enhancing business and people performance through strategic compensation and talent management solutions. With over a decade of experience, Sam has helped companies retain top talents and attract high performing candidates and increase overall workforce productivity. And as you know, folks, business is not the product, business is the people. And again, Sam, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's great to be on the show, John, and thanks for inviting me. I'm excited about the conversation today.
Fantastic. And before we begin in the in-depth questions, because I do have some, especially because what you do is very interesting, can you give us a quick intro about who Sam Reeve is, what your experiences are, your expertise, and what keeps you busy these days?
Yes, so I guess my journey has been pretty interesting in my profession. There's few people that really go to school for compensation specifically. They usually choose something that's larger, like HR or finance, something like this. I started out my career in economics and finance. I got pulled into a ADP at that time. It was a division of theirs called the Pro Business Division, to kind of look at their stock plan and to give them and guidance on how to optimize their stock plan. And so my background in financial management and so forth kind of led into that quite well. And after really working on their plan, I got caught in the world of compensation. I was fascinated by it. And so I spent the next several years, honing in different types of compensation around the world. I've worked in companies such as not just ADP, but McKesson, BlackRock, Barclays, global investors. So working in different locations really got me fascinated with global compensation and how it's different across the world. And so that's kind of my journey of how I got here. About 12 years ago, I think now, I started my own business, and I really wanted to make a difference towards the small and medium sized employer. And why was this important to me? Because I can see how critical it was for having pay right. In small companies, pay is a big deal. It's often the biggest line item, and so helping companies really get that right and ensure that people are paid fairly and equitably has been quite a pleasure over the years.
Fantastic. And Can you explain to us what specifically made you fascinated? Or I guess at this point you can call it what made you fall in love about compensation?
Well, the big thing was is when I was working in some of these large organizations, you know, they uh, I quickly came to find that one size of a solution does not fit all. And so we would have consultants come into the organization and to pitch different concepts, and I found that a lot of them were quite the same. And I knew from my knowledge of compensation that there was a lot of different choices, and for some reason we were only hearing a small a narrow subset of out of the not out of the box thinking, I guess you could say. So I wanted to make sure that when I wanted to make sure I had more impact on people, and not just companies, but the people that these companies employ. And so I wanted to focus on bringing very customized solutions that are perfect for the size and growth of that particular organization, and that meet the needs of the demographic. Because not all companies are different. They have different people, different missions and goals that they want to achieve, and designing compensation to fit that need in a bespoke way is critical for their success and overall employee happiness. So that's what really drove my passion, is really making people happy is the core of it. It's like people don't go to work just to get paid. They want to work at a place of their dreams that drives, that is doing something in the market, that is driving a mission, that is going to be memorable in history, or is creating a difference in the marketplace. And so ensuring that these important companies have an infrastructure that's strong, that they can grow and foster these happy individuals to focus on doing their best work, is something that really motivates me.
Compensation is not the first few things that you're thinking about, especially if you're planning on building a new business, especially on the side of small and medium sized businesses. How important is it that you actually plan for this thing?
No, it's critical for growth. As I mentioned, pay is one of the biggest financial outlays that a company can have, and if they don't ensure that they're paying people fairly and equitably, they quickly discover that if they lose an individual, if you're a small startup and you lose one or two people, it can be catastrophic. Catastrophic for business interruption, for your reputation in the marketplace, and so making sure that you're paying people that fair wage is important, and then think about all the things that support that. So to ensure we don't just look at the pay levels, but we look at an organization's readiness for different types of talent and pay programs. So if you imagine an organization, they're trying to launch this new and AI product to the marketplace, right? And if they spend a lot of their time looking at the technology and refining the technology, if they don't think about their people, then and they lose a person, it's like the rug being pulled out of their under their feet, right? So we need to think about how we communicate with our people about the mission, what we're trying to accomplish, their role in that, in achieving that important mission, and how they can contribute to that. So there's a lot of factors. We call it the workforce experience scorecard. And that's one of the first things that we do when we work with a client, was we go in and we do this gap analysis. We look at how well leadership is communicating their intent to people, how well they're disseminating goals so people know what to do at the right time. This is a critical thing if you're planning on putting in a bonus program that drives behaviors. People need to know what to do to have that outperformance, right? So you need to have those goals. Then you also think about making sure you're bringing in the right people that are aligned with the organization's values. If you bring in one bad apple into your team, and it's a small team, you can disrupt the entire team, and pretty soon people can't do their best work. So we want to make sure that you're bringing in the right people, so that our programs, and we put them in place, will work and take traction into the organization. So there's a lot of elements in there that we look at that is just beyond compensation to ensure that there's a healthy environment for our programs to work well.
Do you see that a person being paid more, just that part, being paid more and nothing else, not being treated better or not being, not increasing on the part of how they're being treated, but just their pay, it increase. Does that automatically means that person becomes better?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a common mistake that a lot of organizations do is they think that they can just get the best talent by offering large pay packages, paying people in the 90th percentile or the top quartile of the market, and that's a mistake. There's always going to be a company out there that can outbid you and attract that employee away. So you need to build up the total rewards package that surrounds not just pay, but you're looking at benefits, you're looking at the work life environment, you're looking at how that person can make a difference in their job, looking about how you can provide learning and development opportunities. All these things are important to ensure that you're attracting and retaining talent, and then ensuring that you're equipping your people to do their best work. There's many small organizations suffer from the lack of having a foundation that allows people to do their best work. If we just look at technology itself, if it's people don't have the right tools to do something, but they can go to a competitor and they have the right tools there, and work is a lot easier. They rather go to a competitor even in so that they can be more successful. So ensuring that you have the right tools, the right development, people know that there's a future for them. They're making an impact on society. All these different things are important to ensure you're retaining your people.
That's fantastic. And on the impact on society, that topic that you mentioned, I think the best people in terms of, the thing that they can do for a company is the ones that are passionate about what they do and what they can bring into the team, not just that they're just another head count on the company.
That's right. And so that's that part of ensuring that you're hiring the right people that have a passion in the work that the company is doing. This is how you really get the high levels of performance. You want to make sure that people aren't there just to collect their paycheck and leave. You want to make sure that they're bringing some of their best ideas and that passion to the job, because that not only shows itself in the product that they or the services that they're doing, but also the customer service that they provide and how well they get together or get along with their team members and management, and really driving the results of the organization.
And can we go back to your experience because you said you worked in BlackRock, Barclays? Can you tell us how working on those companies influence your approach in HR and compensation strategies?
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is when you start out, when you start your career in large organizations, you see the end result of what these programs can do. The power of having things in such a perfect order. I remember working at McKesson, and it was just boring for me to work at McKesson because it was just like everything was so well oiled and was established that I didn't have to do much. It's just kind of making sure that the program is running along, and it was great. You could see the power of that and how effective it drove. That when you're paying people competitively, you're confident in that, then you can really ensure that the costs are optimized. Then I went to Barclays and got the global aspect, and you understand how culture across different locations makes a difference. And not everybody wants the same thing. Not everyone is motivated by pay alone. That's what brought in these other concepts such as work life and their future and meaningful work. I found that through that experience that there's more than just pay that we need to focus on, and so that was a critical thing. Now the next thing is at BlackRock. I found that having the right programs in place, the right incentive programs, can really motivate not just performance, but also that inspiration to create these outstanding tools and thought leadership. So if we think that motivation sometimes is intrinsic, meaning it comes from within, and that's something that we're passionate about. And then there's extrinsic motivation, which is the that carrot is out there that helps us reach and focus our goals. And so if you combine both of them, it's very powerful. So working in those larger organizations showed me the power of these different things as far as motivation, pay, and the bigger world of total rewards. Now, the important thing, that learning that came out of that, as soon as I came out to start my own business 12 years ago, the big learning there was, you can't treat small companies like the large ones that are out there that have everything all together. Small companies need to go through a learning phase. You need to be able to um, explain well and communicate well about why things should be the way they are. So that's the critical learning there. And the other thing is ensuring that you're putting the important infrastructure in place so that these small companies can scale and be successful, so that they can reach these these optimizations that large companies enjoy. So there's a journey there. And so what I find is the most meaningful thing in my life and my business is helping that entrepreneur scale from that small team to putting in programs where they can hire very rapidly and scale and make a huge impact on the world, whether they're it's a technology product, or if they're trying to be a purpose driven nonprofit. There's different ways of approaching each of those. It's been a great experience.
I think that's one of the best things about working with small businesses. Sometimes, since they don't have a lot of things in place, you are the one that are gonna be helping them to the point that your influence is so large that it's up to you whether they grow or not. And when you help them grow, it feels good.
That's right. And in a lot of this, when we're thinking about people in companies, one of the most important things is what leaders need to know is communication. Communication fosters trust, and we need to have trust around the compensation program. And people want to know that they're being paid competitively and fairly, competitively to the external market and fairly compared to their peers. And so that it's ensuring that we're communicating effectively, setting expectations, being honest with our people, and doing the hard work, getting a good professional that knows what they're doing, knows how to do a market analysis to ensure that you're paying competitively is critical.
That's fantastic. And do you think one of the big factor that you made Come Team successful is that you knew what works in the big companies, and the only thing or one of the thing that you need to do at the end is try to reverse engineer those strategies and accommodate it to your own company.
Yes, it's I guess Stephen Covey mentioned it in his journey is having the end in mind. And so if you are an organization that has a goal that you're trying to accomplish, the first thing is to understand, okay, well, what does it take? What does it take for my company to be there, to make that difference, to meet that goal, to make that change in the world? And so once you have that end in mind, you reverse engineer that down to your size of the organization, and you create those milestones, those steps, that transformation of what you need to do to accomplish that overall goal. And so that's my experience, and what our company does is make that happen for those clients that we love to work with.
That's fantastic. And why do you believe effective compensation actually is crucial for management?
Well, the important thing is that we know that people work for a lot of different reasons, but the core element behind all of that is that we need to make a living. We need to ensure that we're setting aside, we're not just feeding our families, but we're setting aside those savings so that we can send them to college and save for our retirement and healthcare and all those important things that make our dreams come true. So that's the core element of pay, is to ensure that that's there. But then the next thing is leaders need to know that we need to make sure that we're bringing in people that are passionate about their work. So hiring right, as I mentioned before, and then also that way you can enable them to do their best work. So they don't have to worry about pay. So that pay becomes something that is satisfied, that they know that they can make a living, that they're on a path to their career, that they know that they're going to scale and be responsible in their career, and they can just focus on doing what the company needs done and to meet their goals, and that happiness, creating that happiness and alignment between your people and and the company creates happiness within your customer base as well. So it's you need those three elements, those three main stakeholders to really share in success: the employee, the company, and also the customer.
And I think being paid fairly makes you love the company more and makes you less stressed about life and money generally and makes you work better. Is
Oh
that
yeah,
correct?
yeah, exactly. I mean, when you think about it, is if uh, a lot of us go to work, are we want to be treated fairly. We want to share in the success of the company. If we don't fully feel, if we don't believe that the company has our back and it has our best interests in mind, that that then you create a bunch of entrepreneurs. It's like, okay, fine, I'm going to go do it myself. And that sounds like a great dream too. But I know, John, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been doing this for years. It's a tough journey doing this on your own. It's like you're an expert. So I started out, I'm an expert in compensation, and suddenly I start my own business, and I have to become an expert in finance. I have to become an expert in human resources, in marketing and sales, and all those other things too. And it is quite overwhelming. Some people would love to go to work and focus on what they love to do best, and not worry about those other things. So entrepreneurship is not the best solution for everyone. They need to find an employer that has their back, that they can trust, and they can really enjoy to do their best work.
And it's fascinating how when you become an entrepreneur you basically becomes every job, you're taking every hat possible. And
Yeah,
it's scary, especially if you're not scaling the way that you want to, and you're seeing that, am I did I just put myself in a position that I just have to work 5 times longer for basically the same pay.
yeah, that's right.
And by the way, why did you decide to start your own company and start Comp Team?
Well, the important is really making sure that I'm having a greater impact on the people I'm working with. So what small companies need to know is that they do have a strategic advantage over large organizations. I'm asked all the time by small technology companies, like, how can we compete against Apple or Google and all these things? Because, like, there's one thing that Apple and Google can't do that you can, as a small organization, and that is providing a direct impact of what you're doing on a daily basis and how it impacts the customer. Small companies often, when you work at a small company, you're often interfacing with that client much more closely. You're not creating a nut on a bolt that goes out to market, and you never see the end result. That you're not there's so much distance between what you do on a daily basis and the end result in large companies, that you don't see that alignment. Well, small employers, they can show that alignment. What you do on a daily basis and working in a small company impacts the client almost directly. And so that closeness, and also working with a colleague on your colleagues on a team, you're you can see the difference you make. So that's what small companies need to understand, is that they have quite an advantage when it comes to impact and on the customer.
Yeah, plus they have the freedom to try things out, especially when they're small. I mean, if you
That's
look
right.
at Apple, they can just do something, that small thing that they do have tremendous impact that could possibly ruin their reputation. And I think that's one advantage that small business have. They have the freedom to try things out that big
Mhm.
companies doesn't.
That's right. I mean, the cost of failure is much higher at a small organization, but also is the cost of success. I mean, the when you win big. When you lose big. So there's it's a riskier proposition working at a smaller employer, but the upsides are can be substantial. Not only in financial upsides, but also the personal benefits, work life balance, uh, having an impact on your employer, the customer, everything around what you're trying to. If you're if you're trying to achieve more than just that strategic or just that intrinsic. I mean, if you're I'm sorry, if you're trying to achieve more than just that extrinsic motivation, the intrinsic motivation is better met at smaller employers where you can have a greater advantage.
And I think if a small company is hiring, that's one of the best selling points that they have because they can't necessarily go for, hey, we can pay better. They can't do that. They don't have their sources. What they can say is, hey, you have more impact to the company. Your decision is bigger
Mhm.
in here, and you have, basically a bigger mission here than just being another number on a big company.
Right. I mean, the org structure at a small company is smaller, right? So when you get a promotion, you can go through three levels of promotion and get to the top of the organization, where it may take you seven promotions to do that at Google or something like this, and years of time. So you can move much faster in smaller organizations than you may at a large organization. Now, there's advantages both ways, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, as a I started out in large organizations and was is and benefited from that. And if that's what you're trying to get in your career journey, then that could be the answer for you. But what I am saying is that uh, all sizes of organizations have unique proposition to be competitive with talent by putting their reward package together in a very strategic way. Small companies can compete with large companies, and just as much as and get that critical talent just as much as a large company can. And the important part is like I mentioned, hiring right. When you're a lot of people that are attracted to large organizations are attracted to what the reward package a large organization offers. There's a different offering for a smaller company, so you need to make sure that the people you're attracting value that different reward package that you're providing compared to a larger organization.
Yeah, and sometimes people they don't necessarily want the bigger compensation. Sometimes they just want the bigger impact.
Yeah. Yeah, there's people that are looking for different things. The important part of is defining what people are looking for and making sure that you're hiring the right talent for that.
Fantastic. And can you share with us how COVID-19 affected ComTeam and your industry overall, especially on the first few months?
Yes, well, whenever there's a shock to the marketplace, whether it's a financial downturn, economic downturn, or in this particular situation was a pandemic, it creates a new environment. And we all know what happened with a pandemic is everybody was forced to work at home. And so this created a revolution in how work is done. Remote work was a thing that was a nice to have, considered a benefit for those that are outperforming in an organization. It's like, oh, you do well, then we can trust you to work at home, this type of thing. But when everyone was forced to work at home, that created a revolution to where leaders found that, hey, people can be trusted to work at home and do some of their best work. They can be highly productive, and so they found that is something that is going to be beneficial to the organization. Also, they find that they can tap talent from around the world much more easily within that remote environment. So now you can get the economies of scale by hiring somebody in a lower labor market, and for much higher talent, and to create strategic advantage in your organization, not only delivering a higher quality product because you're able to afford higher level talent, but also the making sure that your organization is more profitable by having a bigger profit margins that can ensure that you're more stable as an employer. It's not just making the owners' pockets fat, but it's also strengthening the organization so that they can be more resilient to other future shocks and other calamities that may happen. That's an important thing for leaders to understand, is that if we don't react to the marketplace, for instance, right now we're seeing inflation, and we're seeing regulation that is increasing the minimum wage, and so forth. If companies don't react to that and transfer that price onto uh, uh, either find efficiencies or increase their prices, they'll simply just go out of business. So we need to make sure that we're reacting to the marketplace, whether it's a pandemic or economically, to ensure that we're thinking about the company's health and future survival. Because it's not just our profits as an owner that we're interested in. People rely on us for their jobs. We don't want to be, giving, forced into layoffs because we've allowed our margins to become too thin. We have people that rely on us, so we need to ensure that our companies are healthy. And
Yeah, and I think
that's what I do by customizing compensation
yeah,
and bringing out that efficiency, is ensuring that companies are healthy.
that's fantastic. And I love that you talked about how companies need to have that big margin so that they're able to basically survive longer, especially for these strategies. And I think it was Dana White of the UFC where he said, I didn't lay off a single employee, especially in the pandemic, because these people have been with me from the start. And I think those companies that were able to do that are the ones that at first thinks about, hey, I need to have cash on hand, especially if these things happen.
Right. And we need to make sure that we're doing our contingency planning,
Yeah.
and we're thinking ahead. We make sure that we have enough cash in the bank so that we can uh, look at our employees confidently and saying, yes, your job is secure. We just, you need to continue doing your best work, and as long as that there's a shared value proposition in exchange for people doing their best work, we should be able to give them a competitive pay and job security, all those things, as it's a shared value proposition.
And let's transition to solopreneurs because there's a lot of people that, especially the pandemic, who transitioned on being solopreneurs. For someone who was a solopreneur for a long time and is thinking about transitioning and start to build a team, what are the critical factors that they should consider when determining the initial salary ranges and the compensation packages, especially at the start?
Yes. So the one of the I think that one of the biggest problems that solopreneurs have when they start a business is that they don't understand the value that they're creating. So now, if you really believe in what you're doing, you can see that it makes a difference with your people, and you think about, you get out of the scarcity mindset, and you start thinking about what are the value that I can deliver to my clients. That uh, that when you're delivering value, you can charge more for that solution. You can ensure that you're communicating that to your clients and the people, your prospects, and so forth, that you're going to be working with. So that is the most critical thing, because you need to have those profit margins to be able to hire your first person effectively. Now, I wouldn't say that the first thing that you should be doing is looking at bringing on an employee, because there's a lot of it of fixed costs that are involved there. The modern world gives us an opportunity to have gig workers, working across the world, and then working with people on a part time or contract basis, to get our work done. And then it also allows us to bring on that first employee and have confidence that we can provide work consistently to that particular person. So we want to build in resilience and agility into our organization. We don't want to if you have a significant business plan in place and a lot of confidence that you're not just bootstrapping, you have some deep pockets, you can jump into some significant hiring and scale quickly. But if you're bootstrapping, you need to be careful. So it really depends on your resources and what your business plan is. Before you start bringing in people, you need to understand your strategy around how you're going to develop your organization.
That's fantastic. And even if you're hiring part time, there's a huge chance that that person will affect you or your company in big significance. Do you have any tips on hiring the right people, especially for the
Yeah,
solopreneurs?
yeah. The old fashioned way of hiring is just bringing in a bunch of people, uh, seeing who you asking them all the same questions, uh, and eventually the business owner picks their favorite. So the thing is that hiring has advanced significantly. I mean, we know, I know, John, you know that a lot of the AI solutions out there, AI and machine learning and psychometrics, which is the understanding of human behavior and measuring human behavior. Combining all those different pieces together allows us to provide uh, hiring, through assessments and things like that. We can give a new hire. We can understand if they have certain skill sets that we require and certain behaviors that are aligned with our organization. So there's a common tool that is used globally is called the TMA method, and it's a psychometric tool that allows you to have good conversations with your people that are interested in your organization and even your own employees, so that you can understand if they are the right fit for the role, and you can also understand if they have the right behaviors for the team that you're on and for your organization, and that the values are aligned. So, what I would say to small organizations when you're thinking about hiring, look at some of those tools that are out there. Some of them are quite amazing and are well calibrated. There's let's see, there's let's see, it's escaping me. My TMA is the one I use a lot, but there's other competitors out there that do psychometrics as well, that are very powerful. So look into those tools to hire the right people.
That's fantastic. And since you mentioned AI, considering the advancements that AI and machine learning currently have, and especially the rate that they're getting better every single day, if AI could fully automate compensation and talent management, how can you make sure that are still the one that your potential clients choose and not the AI?
Yes. So, AI, there's a lot of great advancements that artificial intelligence can bring to the world of human resources. Now, there's a lot of risk as well. So there's risk in data privacy and ensuring that we're being human or people centric when we're working with our people. Because remember, we don't want artificial intelligence to replace our decision making, especially at this point. It can help HR professionals perform better at their job, but it shouldn't be replacing human decisions, especially right now. It hasn't showed that level of advancement. So it's important that professionals, whether you're a talent professional or you're in recruiting or you're in employee relations or compensation, that you're using AI in a way that it helps enhance the value of what you're providing. It's eliminating bias in what you're doing, but you're using our human filter to check the work of everything that comes out of artificial intelligence to ensure that it's meeting data privacy. We're removing bias. We're treating people fairly, and it's working in making a difference for our organization and our people overall.
Do you use any AI tools personally?
Oh yes. So there's first of all, I mean, it's impossible not to. AI is in tool just it's in tools that we use on a daily basis. I mean, everybody knows that we have AI in our phones. It's whenever we ask Siri or Alexa or whatever your favorite chat bot out there. I mean, that you're interfacing with artificial intelligence. But tools such as ChatGPT and Claude and all that, the work that the co-pilots that are coming out are all great tools to leverage in your work. Now, finding out how to do that is different for every professional out there. But in compensation, we've right now it's for the past year and a half or so since we've had the AI revolution about a year and a half ago now. A lot of comp professionals are using AI to create job descriptions that have been neglected over the past because there takes so much effort. Now with artificial intelligence, job descriptions are a little bit more lightweight, and we can focus on really creating high quality descriptions, removing bias, making sure that job postings out in the marketplace are attracting the right talent and being fair to everyone. Uh, so there's AI that's being done there. There's AI starting to work its way into performance management, and there's a lot of advancements there. It's helping with onboarding processes. It's helping with and also in I guess you can say in compensation. The next piece in compensation where it's helping is matching benchmark jobs to your organization's jobs. That's another area that takes a lot of time and skill set to do. With AI, we can do that much more effectively. There's some great AI tools that in the market that have been introduced recently, such as PayFederate, that uses AI in a lot of those advanced ways. Soon we'll be able to gather more intelligence, more real time intelligence from looking at large quantities of data to ensuring that we understand the trends in the marketplace. And so AI will bring that to compensation in the near future.
That's fantastic. And yeah, AI is amazing, especially for me, what I'm using it for. I mean, the fact that I can send an email to somebody that is so personalized to the point that they think did 5 hours research is fascinating. And I think that's one of the important things about AI. I think there's people who are lazy with it and people who are talented with it, because I see some people just saying, hey, just write me a job description for caller. Then they just write, they post it, and they don't even scan it. And some people who say, hey, write me a description, and they continue to edit it along with the AI, and I think those are the ones who get amazing results.
That's right. And so, and that's a good segue when you hear about is AI going to take jobs? Well, it's definitely going to take jobs of those people that don't learn how to use it effectively. So the most important thing for professionals that want to remain relevant in whatever they're doing is to embrace AI, know how to use it appropriately and safely and ethically, and to enhance value in what you do on a daily basis. To those that don't, will go away. Their jobs will be impacted, but those that do, they will have a future.
I think we're moving into basically becoming AI operators at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like working with colleagues. When we work with colleagues and we work with tools, AI is a combination of a future colleague and then that has an advanced skill set or a tool or a focus that we need to learn to work with to create to do our best work in the future. So yes, yeah, we need to embrace AI.
And I think one of the things that will prevent AI from taking over HR is the fact that most of the time it lacks context. It doesn't understand how humans work on the emotional side of things, so it can make the best decisions out there.
Yeah, and listen, humans can't figure humans out, and
Yeah.
so so we think that a computer, a linear thinking computer, is going to be able to understand human behavior. Eventually, probably, they may get to that level, but I think we're years away of uh, really understanding the full human behavior, and we're going to need humans to do that. We're very interesting beings, humans, and and we're erratic, and the way our minds work. We have to remember that there's no computer in the world that can surpass the human brain, and it's you can find computers that are faster. You can find computers that are more accurate. You can there's but no computer has the amount of computing power that the brain currently has. Now, and when we get into quantum, that I think that we're playing in a new ball game. But right now, it's quite difficult to find a something that is so dynamic as the human brain to do so many different things. We take it for granted on how we move around on a daily basis. So we need to understand that we have a lot of advantages. And when we're thinking about AI and robots, they're two different things. And robots, they have a long way to go before they get the agility that humans have. And then merging it with AI is another feat. We have a lot of advantages as humans right now, and we need to understand our value as well.
That's fantastic. And in terms of the future, uh, where do you see HR and compensation management is going?
So in the future, HR and compensation management. So in the future, I think that we're going to be much more customized. And one thing that AI does allow us to do is really uh, customize our approach to different types of individuals in the marketplace in a fair way. So in the past, or what we're currently dealing with, is our concept of fair means everybody has to be on the same playing field. Well, fair is different for each individual, and AI will help us understand how we can bring fairness and customization together in the future of HR, so that we can customize benefit programs, we can customize a person's compensation, and then we can show that is all fair in the marketplace. Right now, with our current technologies, it's difficult to do that. It becomes too complex. But when we build our systems with AI algorithms that can help us increase fairness, and we can demonstrate that and show the metrics around that, then we can get more individualized and create more meaning for people in our workplace.
Especially because you mentioned level playing field. That's one of the things that I liked about AI. I think the when machines were created, only the big companies were able to utilize it for their company. But now
Mhm.
the small business owners, or even if you're just a student, you can utilize AI for everyday use for basically free. Just
And,
fascinating.
and that's true, but there's going to be that's going to change as well. I mean, there's AI products that are in the marketplace right now that are designed for large enterprise organizations, and then there's also the tools that we can use our small businesses can use and individuals can use, and that has significant power. But there still will be the even though we have a huge advancement in this technology and we can feel it as individuals, larger organizations will have there will be a differentiation for those that have deep pockets. They'll be able to buy more advanced AI and with a greater amount of customized capability than and where we may be able to get some of that as in tools that are out there right now, but it's going to take much more labor to do that, custom prompting and expertise to be able to get that information.
That's fast. That's fantastic. And since we're nearing the end of the podcast, uh, do you have any last advice to the small business owners that might be listening in terms of just overall growth and how they treat each other in their company?
Yes. So the most important, I think that we can summarize what we've just spoke about, to be able to grow as an organization and to, if you're going to be bringing on people and leveraging their talents, we need to switch our mindset as leaders. If we're a solopreneur or are running a small organization, we need to understand that now we're bringing on people. We need to be people focused, people centric, and that means that we need to focus on the people internal to our organization, because if we make them happy, we make our customers happy. It's important for us to think about that cohesively. Those leaders out there that are developing a small business, make sure that you're doing it in a people-centric way. You're thinking about how to bring on your people effectively and fairly, paying them fairly, so that you can eliminate your business interruption. You can have people do their best work, and you can make your customers happy.
That's fantastic. And if there's a Sam Reeve out there who's in his 20s and is starting to uh, want some advice in life, what would you say to him?
So I would say that there's the most important thing that we can do as individuals is understanding that our success depends on others. Our success is not just in what we do, but it's how we treat others and how we deliver value. So a lot of young professionals are struggling, and so what do they think that money is going to bring them happiness. Money doesn't bring happiness. Creating value and meaning to not only yourself but others is what creates happiness in life. And so if you want to be a big earner, the most important thing is to ask yourself, how can you create value for others? That's the secret, is to create value that is meaningful to others, that makes an impact on society.
That's great. And again, thank you for joining us. It has been an amazing episode. The lessons that I learned from you is fascinating. And again, for anyone who's listening, thank you. And Sam Reeve, thank you for joining us as well.
Yes, thank you, everyone. It was a great discussion.
That's all for today's episode of the New World Podcast. We have explored some fascinating topics with our amazing guests, shedding light on the upcoming New World. If you enjoyed today's episode and today's discussion and want to stay updated the future episodes, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to the podcast. And if you found value on what we have discussed, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, or if you are interested in being a guest in the future, please feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn or email me at john.paul@aicynics.com and add New World Podcast, all capital, in the subject line so I can see it. I always love hearing from our listeners. And don't forget to check out our amazing guests. You can find more information about them by the contact details we provided earlier. Again, thank you for tuning in on the New World Podcast. I know your time is very important, and I try to always make the next episode better than the last. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep innovating. This is John Paul Flores signing off from the New World Podcast.